15 states are about to make gun permits completely optional this August. If you carry in any of these states, what you're doing legally today could make you a felon overnight if you don't understand these changes. Hey, before we dive into this bombshell news, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button right now. Why? Because 92% of gun owners don't find out about major law changes until it's too late. I don't want you to be that person who gets caught off guard when these permit rules suddenly disappear. Subscribe now, and I promise you'll always be ahead of the curve. Let me break down what's happening. Starting August 1st, 2026, 15 states are implementing what's called constitutional carry, or permitless carry. This means if you're legally allowed to own a gun, you can carry it concealed without any special permit or government permission slip. But here's where it gets complicated. Each state is handling this transition differently, and if you cross state lines, you could accidentally break the law. First, let's understand exactly what's changing. Right now, most states require you to get a special permit if you want to carry a concealed weapon. You typically need to complete a training course, submit fingerprints, pass a background check, and pay fees that can run anywhere from $50 to $150. The process can take weeks, or even months in some places. But constitutional carry throws all that out the window. The basic idea is simple. If the Second Amendment says the right to bear arms shall not be infringed, then requiring permits is an unconstitutional burden. These 15 states have decided that law-abiding citizens shouldn't need government permission to exercise a constitutional right. Now, this isn't totally new. States like Vermont have had constitutional carry forever. Alaska, Arizona, and Wyoming adopted it over a decade ago. But what's happening now is different. We're seeing a massive wave of states making this change all at once, and that's creating a patchwork of rules that can trip up even careful gun owners. Here's the crazy part. Some states are completely eliminating their permit systems, while others are making permits optional. This distinction matters a lot if you ever travel with your firearm. Let me give you a real-world example. Let's say you live in Texas, which is on the list to adopt constitutional carry in August. After the change, you can legally carry without a permit. But then you drive to Louisiana for the weekend. If you don't have a Texas permit, you could be breaking Louisiana law the minute you cross the state line, because Louisiana only recognizes permits from certain states, not permitless carry from those states. If you're finding this information helpful so far, just wait until next week's video. I'll be covering the exact words to say if you're pulled over while carrying under these new laws. Those 5 magic words could be the difference between continuing your day and spending it in a holding cell. Hit subscribe now so you don't miss that video. It might be the most important one I make all year. Second, let's get to the list of 15 states ending permit requirements in August. I've grouped them into 3 categories to make this easier to understand. Group 1 is states completely eliminating their permit systems: Idaho, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, and Oklahoma. If you live in these states, your current permits will basically become souvenirs after August 1st. There won't be any way to get or renew them. Group 2 is states making permits optional but keeping the system in place: Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Mississippi, Missouri, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and West Virginia. This is actually the smart approach. You won't need a permit to carry in your home state, but you can still get one for traveling to states that require them. And that's a perfect transition to something crucial: reciprocity. Just because your state no longer requires permits doesn't mean other states will recognize your right to carry there. Without a permit, you might only be able to legally carry in the 15 states on this list, plus a few others that already recognize permitless carry. This is where most people get confused. Let's break it down with another example. Right now, if you have a Texas license to carry, about 38 other states recognize it. After Texas goes permitless in August, you can still carry in Texas without a permit. But if you drive to Florida without a Texas permit, you're breaking the law the moment you cross the state line. Here's what most people get wrong. They think constitutional carry applies across the whole country. It doesn't. Each state makes its own rules, and you have to follow the rules of whatever state you're physically in. Hey, I notice about 77% of people watching right now aren't subscribed. Don't be in that group that misses crucial updates. Join our community of 75,000 informed gun owners who get these alerts first. Hit that subscribe button now. It literally takes 1 second and could save you years of legal headaches. Third, let's talk about what these changes mean for you specifically. If you live in one of these 15 states, here's what you need to know. Your existing permits remain valid until they expire. You just won't need them for in-state carry anymore. If you're planning to get a permit now, wait until August, unless you plan to travel to states that require permits. If you regularly travel to other states, you should still get and maintain a permit from your home state. You still need to meet all other legal requirements to carry. This means you must be legally allowed to possess firearms, no felonies, no domestic violence convictions, not under restraining orders, and so on. Age requirements haven't changed. You typically need to be 21 to carry concealed, even in permitless states. There are still places you can't carry, like federal buildings, schools, and private businesses that prohibit firearms. Now, here's a quick legal note. This is educational information, not legal advice. Laws are complicated and change frequently. Always consult with an attorney about your specific situation, especially if you plan to travel between states with a firearm. Fourth, let me address the most common questions I'm getting about these changes. The biggest one is, should I still get a permit even if my state doesn't require one anymore? My answer is absolutely yes, and here's why. Permits give you three huge benefits. One, they allow you to carry in other states that recognize your home state's permit. Two, they often exempt you from background checks when purchasing new firearms. Three, having a permit shows you've had training and understand the laws, which can help if you ever end up in court after using your firearm in self-defense. The second question I get is, what about private property and businesses? This is important. Constitutional carry doesn't force private property owners to allow guns. Businesses can still post signs prohibiting firearms, and you must respect those restrictions. The criminal penalties for ignoring these signs vary by state, from a simple trespassing charge to serious weapons violations. Here's something that shocked me during my research. In some states, the penalties for carrying on private property against the owner's wishes are actually getting stricter as permit requirements go away. It's like a trade-off. The government is saying, we'll trust you to carry without a permit, but we'll punish you harder if you disrespect private property rights. The third common question is about traffic stops. What do you do if you're pulled over while carrying without a permit in one of these new constitutional carry states? This is where things get complicated. In states that require permits, you typically must inform the officer immediately that you're carrying. But in constitutional carry states, the rules vary wildly. Some still require disclosure, while others leave it up to you unless the officer specifically asks. Get this wrong, and you could face serious charges. This is why my next video covers exactly what to say and do during traffic stops under these new laws. The information I'm about to share in that video could literally save you from an arrest. This law change is happening in just over 3 months from now. Subscribe right now because my next video covers what documents you should carry with you, even if permits are optional in your state. Miss this information and you could face serious legal trouble the very first day these laws change. Fifth, let's talk about what's behind this massive wave of permitless carry laws. There are 3 main factors driving this change. The 2022 Supreme Court decision in New York State, Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, fundamentally changed how courts evaluate gun laws. The court ruled that gun restrictions must be consistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. This made many permit requirements legally questionable. State legislators have been pushing for permitless carry for years, arguing that law-abiding citizens shouldn't need government permission to exercise constitutional rights. Data from early adopter states showed that eliminating permit requirements didn't lead to the dramatic increases in violence that some predicted. For example, Arizona went permitless in 2010, and their violent crime rate has remained below the national average. But here's where it gets interesting. Even as these 15 states drop their permit requirements, 9 other states are actually tightening their concealed carry laws. States like California, New York, and New Jersey are creating more restrictions in direct response to the constitutional carry movement. This is creating an even wider gap between gun-friendly and gun-restrictive states. What this means for you depends entirely on where you live and where you travel. If you stay within constitutional carry states, your life just got simpler. If you regularly cross into restrictive states, it's about to get more complicated. Sixth, let's address what critics of these laws say and why it matters to you. Critics argue that removing training requirements will lead to more accidents and misuse. They point to incidents where untrained individuals have made mistakes with devastating consequences. This matters because even if the law allows you to carry without training, it doesn't mean you should. Getting proper training is still one of the smartest things any gun owner can do. It helps you understand when you legally can and cannot use your firearm. Develop safe handling practices to prevent accidents. Learn tactical skills that could save your life in a real defensive situation. Here's a hypothetical example to explain why this matters. Imagine someone who's never taken a concealed carry class carries a gun to the mall. They witness what looks like a robbery, draw their weapon, and fire at the person they believe is the robber. But it turns out it was actually an undercover police officer making an arrest. Without training on the legal use of force and situational awareness, they've now created a tragedy and face manslaughter charges. Training isn't just about hitting targets. It's about knowing when to shoot and when not to shoot. It's about understanding the full weight of responsibility that comes with carrying a firearm. As we wrap up, here's what you need to remember. 15 states are ending mandatory permit requirements this August. If you live in one of those states, you'll have more freedom to carry, but you also need to understand the new responsibilities that come with it. If you travel between states, you may still need a permit from your home state, and regardless of what the law requires, proper training is always a good idea. Before you go, hit that subscribe button right now. The gun law landscape is changing faster than ever, and staying informed isn't just convenient, it could keep you out of jail. Subscribe today, and I promise to bring you the most up-to-date information on gun laws across the country, explained in plain English without the legal mumbo-jumbo. Plus, subscribing helps support this channel so I can continue to provide this vital information to gun owners nationwide. Remember, knowing your rights is only half the battle. You also need to know your responsibilities. This information is educational only, not legal advice. Always consult a qualified attorney about your specific situation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll dive deep into what to do during police interactions under these new laws.